Hello everyone and welcome back to our part 2 of the consolidated statement of financial position. In the previous video, in the previous segment, in the previous part, we managed to consolidate the fixed assets, or what we may call the non-current assets of our group of companies. If you missed that part, please go back to our YouTube channel or to your student account and pick up that discussion. In this second part, we are going to look at the consolidation procedure for the current assets. Now, among the current assets, we have the inventories, we have the trade receivables, we have the bank. Now, of course, we have already done several things, including the preparation of the group structure. We managed to come up with a group structure. We have completed the drafting of the template. This one here, we gave it a title. We spread out all the elements that make up the consolidated statement of financial position. In this particular segment of our discussion, we are going to explore note number 5. We are going to explore note number 5 and note number 6. Without any further ado, I'll take you to our discussion. On this sheet, I continue by recognizing the consolidated inventories, or what I may call the group inventories. Now, among the group inventories, we have the inventories of head group or head company, which is 11,200. We have the inventories of foot company, the subsidiary, which is 8,400. Now, for avoidance of doubt, I want to show you where I've picked my figures. Coming back to our question, you will see that the inventories of head group are 11.2 million and the inventories of food company are 8.4 million. So you pick up those figures as they are and you take them to your computation schedule. Now, according to our discussion on the consolidation procedures under IFRS 2, if I can take you back a little bit. So here I'm going to concentrate on consolidation procedure number 3. I'm going to concentrate on consolidation procedure number 3. For those who missed out on this video, make sure you get a copy. Make sure you watch the video on the consolidation procedures where I fully explain the 3 major steps in the consolidation process. Now, according to our consolidation procedure number 3, we have to eliminate in full any intra-group assets, liabilities, equity, income, expenses, and cash flows relating to the transactions between entities of the group, that's profits or losses, resulting from intra-group transactions that are recognized in assets, such as inventories. So, what does this statement mean? This statement is saying that, is emphasizing or putting forward a rule under IFRS 10 that if there is any transaction between the parent and the subsidiary resulting into a shift of inventories from the parent to the subsidiary with an embedded profit, that profit is unrealized and must be eliminated in full. However, we only do that for inventories that are still in stock, because we could find that by the time we are doing the consolidation, some inventories have already been sold and the profit realized. Coming back to our question, we see that in note number 4, we are saying that at 31st of December 2017, food company's inventory included goods bought from head company at a cost to food company of 2 million. Head company had marked up these goods by 25% on cost. Now, this is what I need. That's the piece of information I need. Allow me to demonstrate what happened there. But as I look for the space, just click on that subscription button if you have not yet subscribed, so that you get notified when we have a new video. Okay, now let me take you to what is happening there. So what they are telling us is that head company sold to food company, transferred goods, but food company did not transfer the goods to the market, because we expect that when head company transfers goods to food company will make all efforts to transfer the goods to the market. In that way, the 25% markup within the inventories will be realized. However, we see in our situation here that goods to the tune of 2 million remained unsold, meaning that 25% markup within the 2 million was never realized. And according to consolidation procedures under IFRS 10, any unrealized profit in the inventory must be eliminated in full, because it doesn't paint a good picture or a true picture of the financial position of the group of companies. Taking you back to our computation schedule, what we are going to do is to remove that unrealized profit on inventory. So what we are going to use is the 25 out of 25 times the 2 million. According to my computation, that gives me 400,000 right there. So the 400,000 is within this 8.4. The 8.4 includes a profit that does not paint a true picture of financial position of the group. At the end of the day, we have our group inventories coming to 19,200,000. You can pause this video and put down our working and the reasoning behind this working. Next, we move to our note number 6. In our note number 6, we have our trade receivables. So what I do, I get the trade receivables of head company, which is 7.4 million, considering the other 3 zeros up here. The trade receivables of food company, which is 5.3 million. And then I eliminate any intra-group receivables that arise out of the transaction between the parent, head company, and the subsidiary, food company. Bringing you back to our question here, you can see that for avoidance of doubt, the receivables, the trade receivables of head company are 7.4 million, and the trade receivables of food company are 5.3. So you pick the figures as they are, then you eliminate any intra-group receivables arising out of the transactions between the parent and the subsidiary. But how do I know that this is the intra-group receivable? You will be told in the additional information. In the exam, try to be smart and alert enough to look out for that information. For the purpose of this question, the intra-group receivables have been indicated in note Roman 4, where they are saying that head company's agreed current account balance owed by food company at 31st of December 2017 was 1.2 million. So what does this one mean? It means that following the transaction on 31st of December, where food company purchased from head company, following the transaction where food company purchased from head company, food company appears in the books of head company as a receivable. Food company has not yet settled its invoice of 1.2 million. This is an outright trade receivable intra-group. According to the consolidation procedures under IFRS 10, such a transaction must be eliminated in full. Coming back to our computation schedule, we are going to bring the 1.2 and subtract it from the total of the receivables of the parent head company and the receivables of the subsidiary food company. We shall see that at the end of the day, the group trade receivables come to the tune of 11,500,000. You can pause this video and put down this working. Now, we shall transfer the group receivables and inventories to our consolidated statement of financial position. I'm taking you back to our consolidated statement of financial position. We have our inventories 19.2 as computed in note number 5. We have our receivables as 11.5 million as calculated in note number 6. And at the end of the day, we have a total of 34,100,000. Now, the 34,100,000 is the consolidated current assets that we add to the consolidated non-current assets. And at the end of the day, we have our total assets coming to 151,600,000. Congratulations, you have managed to reach this far. We have gone through the consolidated current assets, or the process through which we consolidate our current assets. So the key takeaway points, tutorial note on this video is that when you're consolidating the current assets, you must look out for the unrealized profit in the inventories. The unrealized profit in the inventories must be eliminated in full because it is not painting a true picture of the group's financial position. Look out for the intra-group trade receivables. We shall be seeing ahead that the intra-group trade receivables will turn out to be the intra-group trade payables as well. Since in one of the parties' books, the other party appears as a receivable, whereas in the other party's books, the other party appears as a payable. Such intra-group transactions must be eliminated in full in accordance to the provisions under IFRS 10. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, share, comment. I'll come back in the next segment to discuss how we consolidate the equity section of the consolidated statement of financial position. Look out for that video dropping on our YouTube channel and getting uploaded onto your student account anytime soon. I wish you all the best. See you in part 3 of this video.